Hi everyone, thank you so much for tuning in. I really appreciate it. If this is your first time, make sure you hit the subscribe button. Remember to turn on the bell icon so when I release a video, you get notified. Without further ado, let's jump right into today's video. Oh, before we do that, let me take the time to give a special shout out to all of my new subscribers. Thank you guys so much for subscribing. I really appreciate it. This really helps my channel grow, and welcome to the family. So now let's jump right back into today's video. The title says it all. Today we are going to talk about the Agro-Industrial Park in Congo, prominently known as Bukangalonzo. So that is the park that we're going to be focusing on and what it means, the impact of it, and how can it benefit Kinshasa resident moving forward. All of this is coming up. So guys, so we all know the story behind Bukangalonzo. Some of you may or may not be familiar with the story, but a little bit of the background. Bukangalonzo, I think the project started back in 2014 under the regime of Joseph Kabila, the ex-president. Hundreds of billions of dollars was allocated to actually implement that project. But unfortunately, due to the nature of corruption of our Congolese government, some of these predators decided to use the money for their own personal interests. And in the process, the projects didn't really end up getting implemented the way it was originally planned to be. However, when the President Tshisekedi took power, he actually opened investigations to prosecute those that are involved into this particular matter. And one of the main actors being the ex-prime minister, Mr. Matata Ponyo. He's actually was acquitted, I believe, in a trial, but there are rumors that he might still go back because they're planning on appealing the decision made by the court. I am not really here to dive right into political stuff so much, but I am here to focus more on Bukangalonzo and its benefits, right? So, but I just had to give you a little bit of the background so you can be a little more familiar with what Bukangalonzo Agro-Industrial Park is all about. I'm coming with you with another article. This is also found online. I am going to link the article in the description, or you can read that in your own leisure. But we are going to read certain parts and break it down, have a little discussion about it, and let you guys decide what you want to do with this information. But my intention to reading this article to you primarily is to encourage those of you that are willing to launch themselves into agriculture in Congo, but they don't know where to start and probably they're not sure. So hopefully these articles that I am researching online for you guys help actually encourage and motivate you even to go further or go beyond your projects and do something for the sake of your own country, and also help the insufficiency of food in certain part of Kinshasa. Farmers and agriculturers are the only ones that most local people can depend on to bring food on their table, whether it's meat or produce or anything along, or any food products per se, you name it, all right? So guys, please bear with me here. I am going to read this article to you. So I am going to be looking down on my cell phone so you guys can see, all right? And then as we move forward with the article, we are going to come back here and then discuss probably and wrap it up at the end, all right? So this article is coming from an organization called IFPRI. So the author of this article goes by the name of John Ulimwengu. Despite Africa's sustained economic growth, spectacular by all standards, its economic recovery has failed to generate a much needed job increase, poverty reduction, and food security. As a result, calls for inclusive economic growth have been heard throughout the continent, and this economic growth requires a structural transformation, including in agriculture sector. Agricultural transformation in the continent can be achieved through diversification and sophistication of its food system. Many countries have embarked on this path using using it as an instrument to diversify their economies. The Democratic Republic of Congo is home to tremendous agricultural production potential with more than 80 million hectares of arable lands, 4 million of which are irrigable. The country's climatic diversity and abundant natural water supply enable 2 annual harvest seasons and provide the ability to grow a wide variety of crops. In addition, DRC possesses pasture resources that could support over 40 million cattle and inland fishery resources that could supply millions of tons from marine and inland fisheries every year. I find this paragraph to be more important for a couple of reasons. So I am going to go back, read this particular phrase, and giving motivation to those of you that have plans on animal raising and things of that nature. So I am going to read this just phrase to give you an idea of the type of potential that DRC has, all right? It says, in addition, DRC possesses pasture resources that could support over 40 million cattle and inland fishery resources that could supply millions of tons from marine and inland fisheries every year. So do you know what that means? So if you are someone who are more interested in cattle raising, this is greater opportunity for you. You know what I'm saying? Because oftentimes we tend to just sit there and talk about, everything. We waste our time talking about who's controlling the world, who's doing this, who's doing what. But one thing we never talk about is like the ability to get up there and go get something done. Because oftentimes I hear people talk about, especially the thing of the white supremacy, right? Oh, the whites are controlling the world. They're in control. They do this, they do that. But they control our food. They control everything because they are putting money into actions and actually doing something to maintain their power, right? So you also have the ability to do just exactly the same thing. Look at the potential that the DRC has, like 40 million cattle. You know what I'm saying? Like, look at all these opportunities. It's not fully implemented yet. There are people here, but these are the potentials. If you really do it properly, you could, the country could scale the production up to that level. So if you ever wanted to be a part of this is the time to jump in. And you could be the one providing food to us and preventing us from buying food from other suppliers. We could also have our local and Congolese suppliers where we don't have to depend on, other countries to actually, bring us the food, because we have the potential to produce our own food, but we're not really using it wisely to be able to make that a possibility. All we do is always complaining about how other countries are signing contracts with us and extracting our resources and taking it to their country and bringing it back to us for higher costs. But we are the only ones who are allowing this type of practices. Why? Because it's kind of our fault that we want everything done for us. We don't really want to put in the work. We really don't want to put in the work to actually produce something for our own populations and being able to make the profits that we all deserve. You know what I mean? A lot of people will argue, we don't have the tools, we don't have the means of doing anything. We live in a global economy. We live in a global world where anything can be easily obtained through a variety of networks. I mean, you purchase something from China, give it a couple of weeks, they ship it straight to you to Africa. As long as you have the money, you can order the tools if you can make them locally. Of course, it's going to cost you more money, but this is why you call investment. You can invest in those tools. They have the tools shipped to you. You can do just exactly what they're doing. Just stop with excuses. That's all I had to say about that. So let's move on. Okay. To unleash this huge potential, DRC's government decided to launch its first agricultural special economic zone in 2014 in the form of an agro-industrial park. The park was meant to boost agricultural production, encourage private and foreign capital investments, and increase agricultural exports. A recent Reuters article raised red flags, concluding that DRC made an agribusiness park at Bukangalonzo in Western Congo is a failure. I agree the project is not where it should be, but I reject the stamp of failure. And I give this guy a credit here. What's his name? John Ulimwengu. I give him credit here for defending the Congo in that arena, because usually this is why I just said, because mainstream media, they tend to control the narrative. They think they can say whatever they want to say because they control the media and nobody will disapprove the statements. But I'm glad somebody is standing up and saying something about it. Yes, we can all agree that it has been a catastrophe since all this Bukangalonzo project started. It has been a disaster. However, it hasn't been a complete failure. I mean, we seen the fruits of that not too long ago. Like we've seen on television, and we have proofs that people actually were going to like different markets and purchasing the products coming straight from Bukangalonzo. So it's not where it's supposed to be, but eventually it'll get there. So it's only a matter of time. All right, so let's continue with the lecture. Well, let's continue with the reading, shall we? To equate the Bukangalonzo project to a monocrop farm fully outfitted with seeds and agricultural equipment with the goal of producing harvest the next season is an oversimplification of the project's aims. To fully understand the scope and vision of the project, think of it as a city to be built around agricultural production and processing. The size of the plot for the Bukangalonzo project, commissioned in 2014, is nearly 80,000 acres or 800 square kilometers, roughly 8 times the size of the city of Paris. So can you guys imagine, you see like the potential what this has 8 times the size of the city of Paris. Can you imagine? So think of the city of Paris. I mean, if any of you out there watching lives in Paris, let me know in the comment down below, all right? So, you know the city of Paris. So times 8. The whole surface is nothing by agricultural activities. Just that. So think about that project being put into action on its full potential. You know the type of results that will emanate from that. So just think about it for a second. Our country, Democratic Republic of Congo, got a lot of potential. And this is just the beginning. And I think and hope with the leadership that we got now, and if people can get out of the corruption mindset as far as the African political adventure goes, we can do a lot. Food isn't something that most African countries should be worried about, given the amount of potentials that some of our African countries have. We don't really have to depend on China, America, Canada, France, Germany, or whatever other countries are out there that you can think of to actually sell us food products. That's absurd. That shows how irresponsible some of our governments are. But I believe in the near future, we will be able to tackle all of these problems. So it's only a matter of time. So let's move on with the reading. Let's read the article all the way down, and then we'll come back to wrap it all up, all right? Although the Congolese government facing an annual 1.6 billion import bill did ask for nearly maize production, the project is still in infrastructure building phase. It is unfortunate that Reuters reporter wasn't allowed to visit the site and therefore couldn't report on project's milestones, which would have helped to provide a more complete perspective. Okay. Consider a few of these milestones achieved since March 2017. 20 irrigation pivot covering 50 hectares each with the potential to produce 500 tons of vegetables a day, 12 greenhouses for tomato production, 40 tons grain storage facility, and under construction feed mill unit, a modernized maize flour unit, a 54 megawatt electricity substation, and an operational mini shops network around the capital city, especially in poor neighborhoods, to address food price volatility induced by middlemen. In addition, the cassava project is intended to connect small-scale farmers to the park by creating a reliable market for their produce at an agreed price as input for the flour plant on site. As of December 2016, the size of cultivated land by small-scale farmers increased from 50 to 350 hectares, and yield increased from 2 to 15 tons a hectare. Okay, I wanted to pause on this particular paragraph, okay? I am going to read this paragraph one more time, and I am going to come back and explain to you what my opinion is about this particular paragraph. And this is one of the things that I always insist on my channel, and you will find out just in a second why. In addition, the cassava project is intended to connect small-scale farmers to the park by creating a reliable market for their produce at an agreed price as input for flour plant on site. As of December 2016, the size of cultivated land by small-scale farmers increased from 50 to 350 hectares, and yields increased from 2 to 15 tons an acre. So you guys have any idea what that means? We went from, what is it? We went from 50, all right? The size of cultivated land from of farmers increased from 50 to 350 hectares, which means people are waking up. Going from 50 all the way up to 350 per hectare. So that's not even, and that's not the end yet. It just keeps growing. So if you are ever considering getting into agriculture, this is the time, because the Agro-Industrial Park, from what I understand, not only in Kinshasa, wherever the next project is going to take place to open up more agro-industrial parks like this, like Bukangalonzo, they are going to need small local farmers. It's basically the same thing as we see here in America, right? Because like where I live in Quakertown area, like there is a farmer's market. So you have like all these industrial farmers where they give the most produce, but they don't always give everything. They give a good portion, but the smallest things always coming from local farmers. So that's why like they build all these farmers markets, so you can have like local farmers providing produce to that specific place to help out the community around that area to go and purchase produce from them. So this is what it means. So in the Congo case, more specifically in Kinshasa, that number went from 50 to 350. So why such a huge increase? Because a lot of people are starting to realize how much money that can be made in agriculture sector. That's why they don't want to sleep anymore. Because I tend to realize that in like most African youth, they are taught to only go to school, go to college. And there is nothing, don't get me wrong, I myself went to college. There is nothing wrong with going to school, but they only teach you the things that they want you to learn. And once you graduate, you just go to work for somebody and pay the bills for the rest of your day, for the rest of your time on earth. However, if you can actually use the land and produce something to provide to the local people, it's even much greater than learning a skill and going to put money into someone else's pockets. That's just what I'm trying to say here. Because back in the day, people used to think, oh, and up until now, unfortunately, people still think if you're farmers or you see you doing some dirty work, I can't do that. That job is sloppy. Why would I want to leave my job where I put on the suit every morning to go to work and look all cool with my colognes and smelling good, to just, reducing myself to that level? Oh, let me tell you one thing. You may think a pair of shoes or a pair of sneakers you're wearing makes you look cooler, but if you go into that person's pockets or a bank account, they probably have 10 times more than you have. You know what I'm saying? So it don't really matter because when it comes down to clothes, I can wear whatever clothes I want to wear, but I just don't prefer to do that, because the more clothes you buy, it's like you're literally putting money into someone else's pockets, because that person came up with an idea to build the clothes that you are wearing. So what are you doing personally to also provide the services to others in order for them to put money into your pockets? You see how the game works, right? So I'm not saying everybody needs to be a businessman or a farmer, but I'm just giving you giving you this and telling you from my perspective, from my way of understanding things. All right. So I tend to go off when I'm talking about these things because I know how important this is. And I also want you guys to be on board. So I'm only talking to those that are interested in farming. Or if you're probably not interested in farming, but you are curious, you want to learn more about farming, I got tons of videos you can go check out on my playlist. I'll leave a link into the description if I find it, right? Bukangalonzo was designed as a starting point of sustainable, resilient food system, not as an overnight microwave fixer of short-term food problems in DRC. Even with sustained government buy-in and an improved business environment to encourage private sector involvement, it will take time and commitment to unleash its full potential. Bukangalonzo is a special economic zone. It took a decade for Shenzhen in China to transition from a city to a now celebrated special economic zone. It is obvious that when all the technicalities are up to required standards, the remaining challenges facing the implementation of such comprehensive and integrated agricultural development strategy will include consistency in government agenda and vision, stable funding for infrastructure, good governance, and management. A project such as Bukangalonzo transcends ministers and governments without consistency over several years. The loss of political buy-ins is likely to hamper its success. Unlike traditional agricultural projects focused on the distribution of agricultural inputs, the first phase of Bukangalonzo is entirely devoted to infrastructure development, which is the least profitable socially, politically, or financially, posing difficulty for raising funds. Bukangalonzo is complex by design and requires a wide range of expertise. Institutions that are in short supply in an African context, incentives for cheating and corruption are high for both the private and public sectors. There aren't any shortcuts to success. That's important. And if unaddressed, the three main challenges, funding, government, and management, will cripple every effort to create a conducive environment where the private sector will be the driving force. Does the showdown in the implementation of Bukangalonzo doom the dream of a green revolution in DRC? That is a question. Absolutely not. Across Africa, the agricultural sector is under pressure to deliver sustainable development, not just food. This takes time and consistency. Yes, the ambitious project may have stumbled for now, but it has not failed. The end of article. So this is meaningful in many different ways. So now I'm not going to be looking at my phone now. Now it's just me and you guys just having an honest conversation about this. So you see how important this is, right? So I wish I had more time to talk about this stuff, but I really appreciate you guys tuning in. Please let me know if you want me to put out more videos like this. I can go back and find more articles and we can all discuss that. I will probably do a more in-depth and talk about all of this after reading the article, set it all together, and come up with the content where we can all have a discussion, an honest discussion about this type of matter. I appreciate you guys tuning in. Thank you so much for taking the time to watch my video. Make sure you hit the subscribe button and turn on the bell icon for more videos. Until the next one, I'll see you guys later. Peace. In case I forgot to mention it, Merry Christmas and Happy Holidays. I hope to see you guys real soon. And I hope that 2022 starts fresh. It's a new year for more investments, for more agricultural talk, for more agricultural actions for our beautiful nation, Democratic Republic of Congo. And yes, let's get on the boat for this 2022 and just go. We don't want anybody, being left behind. So we all want to get on the same boat and just drive off. Thank you guys. I really appreciate you all. This is your boy. Peace.